Hey everyone, this is Estrella. I thought I'd do a follow-up video of the last one. I've done just when Corona was starting out to become a crisis or handled as a crisis by the governments, and I'm still so baffled and amazed and inspired by people coming together and showing solidarity for one another and helping out each other and just meeting each other with compassion and understanding and a helpful hand, and it's so beautiful. Now it's been, I think, a month, and I feel like a lot of people are coming to their limits, and as the fear grows and the fear subsides, there's an even bigger divide. So you have the people who are not taking it at all serious and just like poof, and you have the people who are super scared, super concerned for their health, and they're like elbowing the way through, right? So you have now two sides of the coin, and I think it's important to remember that we're in this together. We're all genuinely concerned. We're all concerned about our health, about our well-being, about our existence as a human race. And however this person reacts, just be mindful of the fact that it's still a soul behind this person who is just maybe just scared. Okay, so I wanted to talk about 3 things that I feel are happening right now that are dividing our society, and I'm genuinely also scared of that. And I just wanted to put out a message of compassion. Just try to remain aware of what is happening. One is the movement that's happening here for freedom, freedom and privacy. The other one is the injections, the vaccine, excuse me. And the third is these so-called health certificates. Such a beautiful word. No, I want to get certified. Like, damn, I'm certified. I'm so good. Jokes aside. So the first concern is, obviously in Germany there's a growing movement of people concerned with freedom and with privacy. And this is due to the fact that in Germany we are not as much concerned with our basic needs, like the bottom part of the Maslow pyramid, as maybe in other countries where people are living day to day to feed their families, and they're like, okay, you know what, like, I cannot stay home and not work today or else my family's going to starve to death. Okay, so they're just like, give me whatever, I don't give a shit about injections, vaccine, whatever, corona, whatever, I don't care. I need to be able to support my family. So they're obviously in a whole other concern than us. So in Germany there's a growing concern of these things, and a lot of theories being spun, I think, globally around the reasons why corona, what's behind, etc. So conspiracy theorists, right? I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed that this is always a negative thing. And right now, especially very visible, is that as soon as you have a different opinion on certain things, you are as soon as you have a different opinion on certain things, you are publicly shamed. You're shamed not only on the social media channels, but also on the mainstream media. You don't agree with something and you're immediately stamped off as a complete crazy person who has no idea about the world, and you're a conspiracy theorist. And I think that's something that we need to become very aware of, Yes, some theories are really so crazy that, like, I catch myself thinking, oh my God, if this is real, like, I just want to, go off, live in the Fiji Islands or in some remote island and just, be in my hole because they're just so crazy, right? But notice that this doesn't make the person a bad person for putting it out there. Less so, this person is actually quite brave for having this idea and actually going out into the world with it, and facing the shitstorm that's coming up to him, And I feel like it's important to realize that behind each theory is a genuinely concerned person. If he or she wasn't concerned, this person would just keep it for himself and just, live their life. But no, there's a reason why they're speaking out, because they're genuinely concerned. And this is something that you need to focus on. Yes, the theory might be out there, and if it's really the truth, that's something that you need to speak with this person openly with, or, make a platform for discussion, right? Because the human brain is very amazing in the sense that, and this is actually already proven, that we are very good at connecting the dots. That means we're able to pick things that are totally different and unrelated and just spin our own story to make sense out of it, right? This is a very human thing. It's a skill or not, call it what you want, but and the story that you spin depends on really on your experience, on your history, on your environment, on all these different factors. And so there are a lot of things that are happening that just doesn't make sense. Maybe because you don't have the information, maybe because they're actually completely unrelated, whatever, but your brain just puts these stories together. And that's something you need to be aware of. And this is what's happening with many of these people. And whether their story is true, partially true, maybe there's an inch of truth in their story, whatever, but this does not make them a bad person. It makes them a person who's genuinely concerned, who's going out to their world and is opening up for discussion. And I think these people need to be taken seriously, seriously in the sense that they shouldn't be shamed and, you know, not discriminated against, right? This is something where I think we're all here. We have the right to express our opinions, and what's up with that, with all the shaming, you know? No, no. Second, vaccinations, forced vaccinations. So there's a growing concern of forced vaccinations because, especially here in Germany, we just had the last one in March, which said that any child who wants to attend a school has to show that they have been vaccinated against the measles. So now people are very, very scared that the same thing's going to happen with Corona, because, well, the news has been kind of showing that, you know, things are happening, or are there are interests behind lowering the steps that have to be undertaken normally to let a vaccine out. And I'm genuinely concerned that then at the end these vaccines are going to be forced upon us. So I think that we need to be very careful about vaccines, okay? There are many cases where vaccines have been, because of a pandemic or fear, they have been just pushed through and have had very negative consequences. So these people are very genuinely concerned. And vaccines are a risky thing. They are risky, that's a fact. There are lots of side effects that can happen because of the components that are in a vaccine. And it really depends on the person, right? If you are predisposed as a person for autism, for allergic reactions, and you're still an infant, you know, receiving these vaccines can be life-threatening, if not have side effects that are irreversible and very hardcore, right? So I think that this should be a human decision. Everyone should be able to decide for themselves whether they want to undergo this risk or not. Me, myself, it's not that I'm against vaccines. I have been vaccinated. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I never get sick. I'm one of those lucky ones, right? But there are lots of people who can say exactly the opposite. So I think that, you know, a vaccine should not, first of all, should not be forced upon one. To say that people are being irresponsible because they don't want to get vaccinated, they want to get their children vaccinated, is not nice, you know. You're telling them that they're a bad parent. And, you know, I've met people, families from both sides, and they both are such loving parents. They love their children over everything else. They would never do something to harm them, right? And to tell them that, to shame them and say they're bad parents because, you know, they're putting the risk of their children they're putting the lives of their children at risk, is just not nice. At the same time, you can be saying, yeah, those are bad parents because they're risking their children's lives by getting them vaccinated. You know, you have two sides of the same coin. So I think it should be a human decision. Whatever you choose to do, you should be free to decide, and you should be able to receive all the information. It should be transparent. You know, doctors should tell you as a parent, as a person, hey, listen, because of your predisposition, because of your medical history, you know, this injection might have these and these side effects with a higher chance, let's say, no? And then you can decide freely if you want to get the decision or not. Second, I think that injections and vaccines need to be really stringently always controlled. It shouldn't be easier to get a vaccine through. These are things that you put directly into your blood, okay? So vaccines should undergo a very, 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 very strict control. And third, companies should be held accountable for the vaccines that they put out in the world, which I think in some cases is not happening. So this is something I'm also genuinely concerned about. So, last point, health certificates. Like I said, certificate is a wonderful word. Who wouldn't want to get certified in certain things? It just sounds so nice. So there's a movement here that's also concerned about these health certificates. So it's not going to be a forced vaccination, but apparently there are interested people in these certificates that show you are immune versus you are infectious. Notice the words that I'm using: immune versus infectious. So what's happening is that there are drafts in the law that give people or entities the right to choose to ban you from certain spaces just because you can't show and prove that you're immune through a vaccination for a certain disease. Okay? And I think this is something that we need to be very careful about. Okay, dogfight. Sorry for the thing. But this is something that we need to be very careful about, because imagine you have a certificate, or a proof, a piece of paper that says, hey, I got vaccinated against COVID. You might as well show one that shows that you're vaccinated against influenza. And because you don't, you're banned out of, public spaces, you're banned out of parks, maybe you're banned out of, clubs, out of libraries, and this change in the law would make that legal, will make it possible to discriminate you according to your health paper, okay? And my concern is, for example, in terms of employment. I mean, we women already know this, it's a fact that we often get discriminated by the employer because, we get pregnant, we get children, we take time off work. And so employers, out of valid economic reasons, let's say, they would prefer someone who doesn't get pregnant in time off work and would, take money from them in that sense. But imagine that an employer says, hey, this person has a certificate that says, okay, the risk is lower that this person is going to take 4 weeks off work, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week off work per year, because they have a certificate that says that they cannot get sick with this stuff, as opposed to someone who doesn't have the certificate and I choose to stay at home for a week when I'm very, very sick, which, by the way, I haven't. Okay, I haven't taken an influenza shot for a long time, and I haven't been sick with influenza for a very long time, but when I do feel sick, I do stay at home. This is something that I've supported all my life, right? Because I think health comes first. But I'm against the fact that employers now will have the right to actually actively discriminate you for this certificate. These are just concerns. These are my thoughts. In the end, all I want to say is that I can feel, or I can see how there's a divide happening. The people are pro and people are contra. People of each side, mainly the ones who are contra, are depicted in the mainstream media as bad people, and they're shamed publicly. And I just want us to remember that these are people, okay? We're all genuinely concerned. We all, most of us at least, have the interests of human health, of our well-being as a human race behind it. And just remain mindful, remain aware of what's happening. If you are scared, if you feel like, oh my God, this is so unfair, what's happening with me, like, don't take it out on someone else, just because that person is walking around without a mask. If you're genuinely concerned about your health, then talk with that person, ask them what's going on, be kind, engage in conversations, try to understand the other side, stay open. And in that fact, I'll leave you. Use your brain, it's there for a reason. Use your heart, it's there for a reason. Look at the world through lenses of love and compassion and understanding. Like I said, feel free to talk to me, text me, write me, call me, and I love to discuss. I'm always so thankful. I've had wonderful discussions since my last video. I love it when people come up to me and actually talk about it, and don't just, stay quiet and think about something and talk behind their backs. I think that's very disrespectful. But I'm very thankful for those who came forward and called me out on some things. Sometimes we agreed on certain things, other times we completely disagreed on every point, but it's fine. We're two humans just with different points of view, but we're still two souls, and we're still connected, and we still have the true interests of well-being in our hearts. So that's what matters, I think. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Gizmit and I send a lot of hugs and a lot of love. And yeah, stay safe, take care, and yeah, peace out. Mwah.